Hi, I'm Mike Bailey, the Auto Prof. In this video, I cover the preliminary steps for diagnosing an AC system with a variable displacement compressor. Now, this diagnosis is only for the refrigeration system, but many compressors are replaced just based on the fact there's a low charge. Problem being, the compressor's replaced, the system's recharged, it cools, it goes out on the road, it comes back as a comeback. This will help you not fall into that trap.
Here's our G5 in the service bay. What we've done is recorded this during the winter, so there's a very low humidity level in the shop. The shop has been brought up to about 80 degrees, but we're going to configure the vehicle for maximum heat load on the HVAC system. So engine running, hood open, we're going to draw that hot air into the cowl. The controls inside are set for fresh air, high blower, full cold, bi-level. And I open a window. So all of that put together, we're going to move the maximum amount of air, therefore heat, across the evaporator. Looking at the low side, first glance, you may think we have a system that should be cooling off. Looking at the high side, first glance, you may think I don't have a core depressed or something's going on. Look at the gauge reading, you can see it's fluttering. We have a live line attached to that gauge. So our low side reading, keep in mind, it's a direct result of the job of the control valve. In this particular case, it's a mechanical control valve, and its only job, all it wants to do in life, is maintain the evaporator at a pressure that it won't freeze. It has no idea of the charge level, but that's all it wants to do. On the high side, we have an issue. So let's plot these two readings on our graph. The diagnostic graph is in your service information, and as you can see, we fall in the gray hashed area, which is a failure area. Follow through the service manual. Do it enough, you won't need the service manual. But the next step is to confirm there's enough refrigerant in the system for the control valve and the compressor and everything to do its work. So we're going to add a ½ pound. That's all we really need in most vehicles. We add a ½ pound of refrigerant and we watch to see if the system responds. If there's no response, possibly a compressor problem. If the system responds and starts cooling, we know we had a low charge. So here we're going to start adding the refrigerant. We're going to watch the high side. Now we're putting liquid in the low side slowly, but we're going to watch how the high side responds. As you can see, the high side is starting to respond already. What the high side reading here represents is we're putting refrigerant into the system and we're getting enough refrigerant into the evaporator that we can start to absorb heat and transfer it to the high side to the condenser to get rid of it. As our charge level rises, we start to notice that we're not approaching normal readings yet, but the readings are starting to look a little bit better, and our thermometer inside the vehicle is actually starting to show that we're cooling air. What this test confirms is we have a low charge. The compressor should be fine, so it's responding no trouble. We have a low charge. Our next step is to leak test, repair, and then refill the system and do a final check.